Does anyone want to recap last week for inspiration? I'm reminded that this was an offer that I started doing, like, in case anyone wants inspiration, and now I just rely on it to, like, get us into what's going on. I mean, I can take it if no one else wants to.
Um, I can't remember where we picked up, even though I listened to everything. So,
That's
by all
always the
means,
problem I face, that I never
Well,
know where a session starts, ever.
how does everyone feel about sort of doing this as a group? We'll all help each other do the recap. Because if I remember correctly, we started having just taken a long no, we started with the fight, right? Is that what we did? Started with the fight?
No.
No, did
that
we?
was 2 sessions
That was
ago.
Tuesday. So we started with the long rest then.
No.
No. All right. Well, then someone else should be doing this.
Sorry.
um,
No reason to apologize.
It had to have been post-vampire fight. Post-vampire spawn fight.
yes.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
I don't
Mhm.
remember what happened directly after that.
Oh, we there was a little uh
Discussion with Victor.
discussion with and about Victor, yeah.
Uh-huh.
And did we? I guess it really was that early that we went. Victor and Rokea went up and found the library of blank books.
Mhm. You guys got a lot of ground covered last session, actually.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That. We did the library of blank books. Took a short rest up there. Discovered that books which are taken from the library turn to dust. Found a set of stairs going down. Opted not to take those because we had just gone up. And instead found a skeletal figure pacing around in his own room, who says he was is or was, um, I guess something of a caretaker of the library. He has forgotten his name, and has revealed that the books have passwords to be able to read them, but he doesn't remember what most of the passwords are either. We just sort of closed the door and left him there.
Yeah? Yeah, you did.
After
Uh,
he explicitly said, "Go get your
yeah,
friends.
go get your
Come
friends and come
speak to
back.
me."
Come hang out with me.
Um, he was pretty chill. It was fine. Went downstairs, and then this is this is one of those things that, like, while we were playing made perfect sense, but now that I'm saying it out loud afterwards, like, we went down the stairs, then climbed back up to the second floor on a landing because we jumped down a hole rather than take the stairs. Why would we take the stairs up to get to this balcony where we found there were a couple doors? We went through one and found a statue made of obsidian that lures people in towards it and um, basically captivates them. And as the two bodies that we found at the foot of the statue attest, you sit there until you die. Generally from starvation, but as Zeldrin pointed out, the ability to create food means that you can just stay there till you die of old age instead. That was not quite the way that Zeldrin put it, but that is the ultimate takeaway there. Um, the statue was shattered. We went on to a banquet hall that was all illusory and heartbreaking. Through absolutely no fault of our own, were attacked by a group of specters,
Mhm.
wights, wraiths, some sort of undead creature, who got a very, very brief lesson into how kick-ass the Elven Pantheon is before being disintegrated by the holy power of said elven pantheon. Zeldrin MVP. Went back through the room with the now broken statue, through a secret door that Zeldrin discovered, to find a room that was nothing but a bunch of skulls. Totally cool, no problems. Absolutely, totally chill, nothing to worry about there. There was a chest attached to the ceiling, which when opened, dropped everybody back onto the first floor because, I mean, why does this temple even have stairs to begin with? Like, you don't need those. Nobody needs those. I think that's where I forget where we went from there. It's possible that is the point at which we were like, you know what? Fuck this place. Like, grab the loot. Let's get the hell out of here.
Well, in fairness, Zeldrin was at that point about an hour
Oh, yeah.
before.
Oh yeah.
I mean, Zeldrin was at that point like the session before.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I think after that we did just head downstairs and gather up loot. That took a while.
Yeah, you fell down a trapdoor and just went to the next room where treasure was and began divvying it up's not right. Collecting. Yeah.
Triaging the treasure.
Yeah.
What can we carry?
And then you left the temple.
And then we fast traveled to the intersection outside of near Kresk.
Yeah, you had a night of rest at the Zolinka Pass towers, but then went to the crossroads. Is it the Raven River or is it the Luna River? I don't remember because it's not exact. Raven River. There we go. Because in the book, it's one thing, and on this map, it's slightly different, but it doesn't super matter. It's all cold water.
It only matters because I believe we have to travel south along the Luna River for something, don't we? Weren't we told there's something along the Luna River that we need to look into?
Maybe.
I feel like there was. Was it the location of? Yes, it's the well. I mean, this isn't in my notes, so I don't know. But isn't it the location of the Silver Dragon people of? I know I put this in my note. Argynvostholt.
That sounds correct. It's either that or it is
I'm
the
checking my
way
notes.
to find Berez. But I'm pretty sure you're right. This world is amorphous in my own mind, so okay. Raven River. Yes, the Raven River crossroads is the quick stop. Is the quick save point. Yeah, so that's where you guys are. Having just come out of Zeldrin's ritual, that has taken you to a known location within a day's travel. And from there, you do have the sign that points you directly on the road towards Kresk. And as before, Casimir is happy to take the
Sorry,
lead. What?
Nothing. I thought you all heard me sneeze, but I guess I did mute My bad.
Oh,
Carry on.
okay.
Sorry.
The road branches north and climbs a rocky escarpment, ending at a gatehouse that is built 20 feet high, built into a 20-foot high wall of stone that is reinforced with buttresses every 50 feet or so. The wall encloses a settlement on the side of a snow-dusted mountain spur. Beyond the wall, you see the tops of snow-covered pines and thin, white wisps of smoke. The somber toll of a bell comes from a stone abbey that clings to the mountainside high above the settlement. The steady chime is inviting, a welcoming change from the deathly silence and oppressive fog which you have grown accustomed. It's hard to tell at this distance, but there seems to be a switchback road clinging to the cliffs that leads up from the walled settlement to the abbey. Um, you guys are arriving here at. I'm trying to think of what point of the day this was because you left. This would be close to evening, um, because of because of when you left the temple and rested, and then began traveling again. Um, uh, this settlement looks more well enforced than any other place you have yet seen in your travel through Barovia. The stone is old, and the walls itself look like they are look significant enough that there are certainly watchers on the top of the wall. Valaki has its wooden wall and some like outposts of watch. Barovia doesn't even have a wall. So this place looks like it is a fortress against the the creatures within the woods. Um, the hill and cliffs around the settlement itself are fairly clear of the trees. You see unusually that there are trees from on the other side of the wall itself, sprouting tall enough from within the wall to be sort of like an organized, very clear, like you can almost see like the orderly rows of uh, lumber farm within. How do you wish to approach?
Could we just walk straight up the road, make sure we are seen well in advance? I don't think we're trying to sneak our way in.
Yes, I think that's absolutely the way to do it. We need to find something to do with the cot and everything it holds.
Mm.
I don't know that we can be lugging this all over Barovia.
You think they're gonna ask us where it came from? And do you think when we tell them they're gonna say, "Oh, that's cursed. We don't want it"?
Only one way to find out, I guess. Yeah, let's head up that switchback.
All right. You can roll to the front of the gatehouse, which is just this
Mhm.
southern gate here. And as you approach about 50 feet from the closed gates, you hear someone shouting from the tower. Hey, who goes out there?
Well, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 weary travelers looking for a place to rest our heads this evening.
And where do you come from?
Oh, all over, really. I guess most recently Valaki.
You have any word from Balaki?
Uh,
There has been a change of leadership. The former Burgermeister is no longer in charge of Valaki. The heirs to the House of Watcher now lead the city.
There's a brief silence before you hear a shout back. One moment. And you see someone who walks out of the gatehouse onto the wall and then disappear down a ladder within the city. You are left there for some time, just in silence. About 15 minutes pass. And then the same guard who was apparently on watch climbs back up the ladder, followed by a rather stout individual with deep skin, deep dark skin, and hair gone white, who or beard gone white. He is you do not see that has much in the way of hair underneath the woolen cap that he wears. Um, and he looks over the side of the wall and says and shouts out, "You say the House of Watcher is in leadership of Valaki?"
That is correct.
And have they faulted their authority of the city over to Master Zarovich?
Not as far as I'm aware.
yes, as far as we're aware, that element of the Watcher family has been purged.
Yes, the Lady Watcher is no longer in charge of the Watcher family. She has departed this world.
Was she an ally to you?
I should hope not.
He seems to regard you from pretty high up. You can kind of see his heavier brow crease. Thinks and considers you. Even from far away, you can kind of feel that stare on each one of you before he makes a gesture with his hand to the guard, who goes into the tower. And a moment later, you hear the creak of old hinges begin to turn, and the doors slowly and mechanically open.
We thank you for your hospitality.
Assuming you enter.
Mhm.
As you pass under the gatehouse, you see again that is heavily thick and fortified, and waiting on the other side, boots in the snow on the street, and coat kind of pulled a little bit closer to him, is the same stout individual. He's maybe uh, he's probably like half a head tall, shorter than most of you. Um, and sticks out a broad gloved hand to you in greeting. Dmitry Kreskov, Burgomaster of Kresk.
Nice to meet you. My name is Zeldrin Sunstrider. This is my brother Zazarak. our friend Arium, and oh, there's more people here. This one is Casimir. Did Casimir come with us? Casimir. There's so many names. There's so many names. What's her name? What's her name?
Irina.
Irina.
It's Ileana.
uh,
We actually knew her surname.
yeah. It's
You know what? She's
here.
in the list. Yes. Named NPCs. Kolyana.
Kolyana.
Maybe we
Irina,
don't give
Kolyana.
Victor's last name.
And yeah,
She,
those are the important members of our party.
this here is Victor.
Victor looks at you very confused. Kreskov shakes hands for anyone who will do so,
Mhm.
and says, "And you say you're from Valaki most recently. What brings you out this way? And what manner of import have you brought with you?"
Well, we're looking to. There's an abbey, Saint Markovia. We were hoping to look into that place.
Really? And what about the abbey takes your interest?
Its name includes the name of a saint, and I'm a fairly religious person, so that definitely sparks my interest.
Well, if you're looking for the good saint, I mean, she is several hundred years deceased.
Yeah, not many abbeys get named after living saints most of the time.
Mm. Suppose then you've heard of the abbey then. What have you heard?
We have heard that it has fallen into disrepair. When we first heard of it, I assumed that it was in working order, but I have since been set straight on that.
Eh,
I want to say we heard a rumor that there is an occasional visage spotted there, but I could simply be succumbing to the the atmosphere of Barovia here. We are not from Barovia originally. We have been brought here.
That is apparent.
What gave it
Rude.
away?
There is, in fact, an individual, some probably 100 or so years ago, who came to Kresk, claiming he was capable of cleansing the abbey after all of the saints and her clergy were killed by Strahd. He's been there ever since. Every once in a while, you can see his face from the windows. He's not aged a day in all that time. He's older than anyone who's currently living here. TV. It's not TV time, it's bedtime. TV. If you wish to speak with the abbot, that is, well, I can't encourage it necessarily. There's something odd about him, besides the fact that he's, well, as far as we can tell, immortal. Let's get out of the cold. And he turns and starts walking towards one of the houses that is right next to the front door, for the front gate. You all follow?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
You see some stout little houses on this street, each one with a little front yard garden that is host to uh, chickens and pigs and some hares within cages, as well as little gardens with beets and turnips. But this one little house, with its very small garden, it appears to be maybe the biggest of these little cottages, but it is still uniformly like log, square, cabin, and once inside couldn't be more than like 400 square feet. Um, Inside there is a fire and some wooden furniture, and a similarly featured woman, um, with again some with darker skin and aged white hair, who is in the room sewing and darning some socks. Um, she stands and bows her head to all of you. Um, the burgomaster introduces her, uh, says, "This is my wife, Anna. I believe that is her name. Let me double check. If you're here for the Abbey, we should caution you. Besides more than just the abbot, uh, there are things that have since appeared in more recent years. Quite they howl at night, not like hounds, but like all manner of beasts. I don't know anyone who's been up to the Abbey in some time, and know even fewer who would say they've come back completely right. What business besides seeking out spirituality would you have with the Abbey?
Well, not to seem too boastful or none of that, but we we're fairly well equipped to handle uh, creatures of darkness and those that prey on travelers or those out at night. We hope that we can stand against the darkness that rules this land and do what we can to free this land from its grasp and therefore free ourselves from entrapment herein. Though we know better than to rush into something like that, and we hope to gather allies and uh, search out whatever leads can help us gain the strength required to pursue such a matter.
Makes himself comfortable on a chair, and says, "And you think you can find something like that in the Abbey?"
No stone unturned, all that. Uh,
Hmm.
We have received guidance of not quite a divine nature, but still something beyond at least normal abilities. That there is a a lone Vistani who may be making their way through the Abbey, and that this individual can perhaps assist us with, at the very least, information about our enemy. The frankly, with the power that the master of this realm has over it, um, any assistance that we can muster up is welcome. So, if you are aware of such an individual, that would be a fantastic place for us to begin.
His hand runs over his beard. Says, "Well, I'll be honest. We don't often take to trusting outsiders, Vistani included. I wouldn't know of any who have made it through the walls of Kresk, much less anyone who was professing to be traveling alone and with the intention of going to the Abbey. But that isn't to say it hasn't happened. I would like to believe that my guards are better equipped at preventing such, but after all, they are just men." I won't stop you. I would caution you against it. It's dangerous.
Oh, we're certainly no stranger to dangers.
As far as aid is anything that we could offer, uh, truth be told, we don't have much in the way of, well, much. The only trade we do is lumber for wine with the druids who live at the vineyards.
Ah, yes,
Mardikovs?
the Modikovs. Yes, we are familiar with the family. We have assisted them in a number of endeavors. Erwin is, I guess you could say, a friend.
Hmm. And I suppose we have you to thank for the return of shipments in the past couple days. We'd been without for some time, and we were getting worried about the family.
We played a part. A um, leveling force had taken uh, taken up in the brewery. Brewery? Winery. That's, yeah. I guess you brew wine, don't you? It has to do the steeping thing. Unimportant.
Well, in kindness returned, if there's anything that we might be able to aid you with, we would be happy to support with what little we may be able to offer.
Well, I mean, we did recently come into possession of some trinkets and valuables. Uh, we were hoping not to have to lug it around with us forever. If selling something like that would be possible, that would be, something we'd be looking for.
I don't know how much we'll be able to trade you for, but we could at least point you in the direction of a warehouse. And if you'd prefer it to have somewhere secure, there won't be anyone in Crest could be stupid enough to come upon our household and take anything of ours.
Now, uh, so here in Chris, y'all stand, openly against the the reign of the Count.
My family and I have since before the count. The master of these lands, the Lord as he calls himself, he came here several hundred years ago. My people had already had this place built, fortified, and protecting the abbey after its construction. And it was, as I said, allies, clergy of the saint who stirred a rebellion against him in the time before the mists fell. Fortunately, as I said, she and all of hers fell to the fell to von Zarovich, but still a noble story, I think. Yeah, the attempt meant in earnest.
Hmm. Do you find yourself having to defend this town from dark forces very often, or are you left alone out here in the north? West? I don't know what direction this is, but
Werewolves, mostly, travel down and try to pick off our hunters. We keep everything we can, livestock and agriculture, within the walls, but you know, people gotta leave every once in a while. Very rarely. There is a significant safety with these walls.
hmm.
Do you know how large the pack is?
He shakes his head. I've seen young and old, and naturally, as you know, any can be changed, turned. So I suppose their number only has a capability of growth.
And you say they're north of here.
I believe the answer is yes.
I thought he just said they come from the north. I was just
Oh, I think that may have been Tyler. Let's see. Da-da-da-da-da. Yes, north. To the north side of Lake Bartok, there's smaller game trails and paths that they take that would lead you there. But if you then go into the abbey, might be ill-advised. He shakes his head. Best I can offer you while you're here and the sun's going down. We don't have much in the way of a spare room, but whatever blankets, mattresses, pillows, cushions we can scavenge, we can offer to you.
Well, most of our number do not require uh, bedding, though if we could have a room for our human companions, separate rooms.
He and his wife kind of look at each other and just kind of bitterly chuckle. We can make up some room in our children's rooms for whoever might need them. He gets up and he wanders to another part of the house. As small as the space is, you see that there's only like 3 other doors, um, and he goes into one of them. While you are sitting here for a moment, you hear another knock at the door behind you, and Anna gets up to answer it. You see, on the other side of the door is a woman who is uh, also dark skinned, though her hair remains dark and thick and braided. And she has a coat kind of her she's still like pulling a coat on over her shoulders, and she says, it's time, we have to go. She said that she's only a few, probably about 2 more hours before the baby comes. And Anna uh, nods and grabs a coat off of the coat rack, and she says, uh, I'll be back. Take care. And she leaves.
Well, isn't that joyous? New little one about to join the world. Uh, Another little bit of light in this otherwise dark place.
Dimitri steps back out of one of the rooms and says, "You should be comfortable in here. The bed might be small, but this one and this one are unoccupied." And he raps his knuckles against 2 of the doors. My wife and I'll stay in our own room. Make use of whatever space you might need. Your carriage outside, I don't know how much you might be able to take in with you, but if you don't want it outside in the snow, um, could offer you a closet, I suppose."
Very generous. I think we should be able to maintain a vigil over it, and you would, if you would like, we can supplement any of the forces you might have that watch for trouble from the north.
Awful generous. But please, you're guests. Make yourselves comfortable. He goes to the kitchen and begins like cutting up a loaf of bread into like thinner slices to offer to share. Uh, Irina and Victor both claim a bedroom, um, but linger out with you all for a little while as it's still fairly early in the evening. Anything you wish to do?
Gentlemen, how would we want to? I assume we should want to keep a watch over the cart full of things. Not that it's.
Well, yes. Well, I mean, Floof is out
I
there
don't.
looking over it, but I'm sure he's going to need to get some sleep at some point.
Hmm. I should see if they have the incenses required for me to return McCormick to us. In the morning, perhaps.
Yes, I think. What do you think, brother? Maybe a little bit of your magic, and we will spend the night outside.
Yeah, yeah, I do enjoy a night under the stars.
Casimir speaks up, says, "Perhaps it would be convenient while you explored the abbey that someone should remain behind and ensure that nothing is taken."
I think that is very reasonable.
Perhaps you and Irina hang back and The other three of us, four of us. Sorry, Victor. Head to the Abbey in the morning.
That is fine. Probably for the better.
Well, don't know what we find out there, and the less danger we put everyone in, the better.
Dude, if we find that asshole Rahadin out there, somebody's gonna die.
He will not get away from me another time.
What direction is Rahadin? Because I still have my brand of castigation on him.
He is southeast of you.
He would come from that direction. It would seem we are headed not quite the same path.
Oh, thank God, that guy almost killed me last time. I mean, no, so if we run into him again, someone's gonna die.
That still may remain true.
That's okay. If it's anyone but him, I can bring us back.
And you should probably let me know where you keep the components necessary for that. I've been paying close attention and studying and saying my prayers to the Twilight Rider every night. I might have a trick up my sleeve myself.
Oh, yes, of course. I mean, everything's here in my bag.
Well, I hope I don't have to use it, because if I do, most likely means you're the one that is in need.
That's okay. I usually let you two take the beatings first. So
Yeah, that never occurred to me before, but now that you mention it,
if
huh?
I need to be revived, we're in a lot of trouble.
Yeah, I'd say so. Look, why's everybody looking at? Look, we all know it's going to be me. You don't have to give me that look. It's fine. All right, I'm going outside to say hi to Floof.
I'll follow out and pick a nice little spot in the yard. Ariam, which direction was it you said again? Could you point it out for me?
That way.
I sit down on the ground facing that way.
While you're outside in the yard, you see that there are a few different places where you can kind of see this in other yards, but as close as you are to the house, you see you see four little grave markers um, near the house. One of them with the snow more recently cleared and the earth packed. Not as if like earlier today, but just more recent. You set up a tiny hut? Okay. All right. I know that we all all of your sheets should be set for the long rest from last time, but if there's any spells to re-prepare, you guys have a silent evening and full rest until morning.
Just so I'm clear, since I'm
Mhm.
tracking the number of days I have this glorious, glorious beard and this sweater of body hair, um, is this the day that we've left? We've slept one day, so this will be
Yes.
when we wake up from the tiny hut. This will be day 3 of having my beard. Correct?
Uh, uh, y-
I don't know if it's day
it's
2 or 3.
it's day. So yesterday was your first full day. So today is day
Okay,
2,
got it.
but you have rested twice. Yes.
Okay, got it.
Yes.
So when we wake up in the morning, it'll be day 2.
Yes.
Got it.
I'm
Fantastic.
counting down the days left on my strength.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you for clarifying. Anything you would like to declare or prepare as you as the morning comes?
Um, if there's time, I would like to take a quick walk around town, just see if anything stands out as particularly unusual or concerning before we
I,
leave
I
Irina and our treasures, y'all.
I will go with you. I had planned to, while we were resting, do a quick view of the town's defenses, especially in regards to the north. I have more than a small amount of concern about this group of werewolves, although
Hmm.
we have other things which are far more important.
Oh, let's take a walk then, shall we?
Does Eldrin want to go with?
Yes.
Okay. The three of you can wander. You see mostly cottages. You do not see many places of trade or taverns per se. As small as this is just more or less a collection of farmhouses with very few commonplaces between them. Um, as early in the day as it is, there are several adults and some children who who are walking out of their houses wrapped up in heavy furs, um, carrying empty buckets, and they all seem to be headed towards the north side of town. Not necessarily like in a um, what's the orderly fashion, just drifting out of the house. Some people are coming back; their buckets are full, but they're all heading in one northerly direction. Those who are empty. What are you looking for precisely?
Um, Zazarak is just trying to get the lay of the land
Hmm.
and is, for the most part, is just out for a walk, but is looking for anything that strikes him as um, unusual or out of place for what appears to be a fairly well fortified small village.
Hmm. Hmm. Why don't you make me an insight check?
Ready?
Okay. As far as out of the ordinary, you do not see in as in Valaki this sort of like tyrannical air of leadership and omnipresence of guards, and not and unlike Barovia, you do not see people who are absolutely huddled in their homes and unable to move. The people here seem to have what appears to be like a fair amount of personal like stability and security within the walls, and people are going about like woodworking and daily tasks, tending to the gardens and their animals with like apparent confidence.
Do we see any street vendors that look to be selling uh, golden reliquaries worth 500 gold?
There are no street vendors at all. There seems to be a very small trades shop that just says like trading post. Um, but that that is the only thing that you see explicitly, and it's fairly close to like the main gates of the city. Like if the burgomaster's house is like it's like right here, the trading post is right here. And I know Tyler, you didn't see that, but
Mhm.
for everyone else.
It's basically directly across from the gate we entered.
Mhm.
Well, I don't think that place is gonna have a gilded reliquary. Maybe we'll get lucky in the abbey there.
It might be
Oh,
worth stopping in and seeing what they do have, however. We do have
yeah,
a significant
maybe they'll have some of
cache
that
of
incense
treasures.
you're looking for.
We can hope.
Do
Yeah, I miss that little guy.
you want to head in?
Sure.
All right. Uh, you walk in. The door jingles with a bell as you enter. A very thin fellow with tufty white hair says, "Oh, howdy. Name's Wilhelm. You strangers seem to be well, quite far from home. What can I help you with?"
Wilhelm, you would not believe how far from home we are. But we just wanted to take a look and see what manner of goods you carried. We have interest in obtaining some, uh, possibly some incense and other uh, trinkets we might need.
Yeah, well, trinkets and incense is unfortunately not quite my specialty, but I can see what I have. Most folks here are coming in the need of rope and steel, and that I've got in abundance. You will be able to acquire any adventuring gear at standard cost, no inflation here. Um, uh, but he'll look under his counter, see if he's been able to trade anything recently. Oh, I'm deeply sorry. I don't have much in the way of incense. Uh, at this time, is there anything else I might be able to help you gentlemen find?
Uh, Hopefully, we can assist you. We might have things that are well. No, never mind. These are mostly very. I'm looking back over the list. That is mostly things that he is not going to give a shit about.
Say, is it your first time visiting our city?
Indeed, it is. Indeed, it is.
In that case, well, good fortune may find you. Let me see if I can hold on. And he looks around again. And he pulls out two glass vials. Um, they are empty, but each of them are carved or etched with a little rising sun. He says, uh, he says, "Favors of Kresk. You could take these to the pool and take some of its free flowing blessings. Keep that close to your heart. Safe travels."
Well, was that what the bucket brigade we saw this morning was? People collecting blessings?
Oh, blessings and mostly just water.
Hmm.
Everybody needs to bathe.
Well, how convenient that the blessings and the bathwater come from the same location.
He kind of chuckles.
Well, thank you for your time.
Mhm.
If you guys
Please,
need any gear, mm,
please do let uh the Baron know if you do happen to get any incense in. We would be most interested in trading for it.
most certainly. Uh, not to, I suppose, sell to my competitors, but I do happen to know that Valaki is a little bit more central to trade than we are, and well, if any households are likely to have such equipment, probably be there. More of a stani travel and stay there and sell with them than out here.
Mm. Well, we appreciate the heads up.
There are a few things I think we could stand to stock up on. Some basic supplies, ropes, spikes, tons.
Oh, excellent idea.
You wouldn't happen to have maybe some like foraged goods, mushroom powder, saffron, animal fat?
Oh, that we can have. Are you looking for something specific, or are you looking for food?
In order to cast True Seeing, I need an ointment made of mushroom powder, saffron, and fat, which costs 25 gold.
Okay. I'll roll for the saffron,
Hmm.
cause that's expensive. Well, mushrooms I can get. They're coming whole, and pig fat I have. Saffron spices, that's rare and expensive. Haven't seen any of that in a while.
You know any housewives with a cupboard I could raid?
I'm
Huh.
pretty sure if I had saffron within my own house, my wife would absolutely beat me silly if I were to sell it.
Whew. Well,
We're gonna go kicking down doors in Kresk looking for saffron, just raiding people's spice cabinets.
tell me, have you got ski masks?
This man willingly and helpfully helping you rob his city.
Rob him.
Yeah, I mean everything else that I might need is like 1,000 gold's worth of powdered ruby or a jewel encrusted bowl or etc. So alright, well, I guess that's that then.
I am definitely going to buy 100 feet of rope because I think I
Okay.
used my other 50 feet. No, wait, that was tied to you two, so I'm
Yes,
sure
no,
I
that
got
was
that back
yeah,
at some point.
that was
So I
all
will
your
just buy
friends.
50 more feet of rope so that I have 100 feet,
Okay.
and then I'm looking into some basic stuff here. That is 1 gold. Like I'm tracking from my pocket because we have not decided how to split the money.
Speaking of coin, do you think do you keep enough in your coffers to maybe exchange a little bit of coinage for us? We're carrying around a fair weight of electrum piece and hoping to maybe swap that around for gold pieces. Though I understand if you haven't got a large quantity of that on hand.
Oh, how much are you looking to change?
Well, I think we've got about 3,000 electrum, so that'd be about 1,500 gold.
Oh, hey, sir, you may be shopping in the wrong store.
Look, I said I understand if that's if you haven't got a whole lot on you. I just you asked how much, and that is the number.
Well, I'm very sorry, but I think the best I could hand you would be 30.
That's all right. Don't worry about it.
I think that also might depend on what other things you might have that we might want to purchase. I mean, do you happen to have holy water, or would you happen to have? Well, no, I have a magnifying glass. Is your rope silk instead of hempen? These are things that could very rapidly.
Listen, I'll sell you everything I got, but I do have a limited stock.
I don't think we mean to buy you out or anything. Just
Hear Miles saying in the other room.
yeah, he's not interested in going to bed.
Find the power, Miles. Find
He's-
the power.
He's singing the phrase, make a sound. Well, anything else Wilhelm can help you with?
I can't think of anything I really need.
Yeah.
He makes sure that with whatever you're purchasing, you still get those 2 glass vials. And bids you farewell. Welcomes you back if you ever come through. What next?
Well, should we do as the man says and go fill these vials up?
Absolutely. Does he have whatever's on the list? Specifically, does this man have a portable ram for sale?
Fuck yeah. That is heavy as shit, though, isn't it?
It is 35 pounds, but you know
Yeah.
what? I can carry it. What? Look, we ran into a lot of locked doors, okay? A lot of locked doors.
Mhm. We did get into most of them that weren't locked by magic, and then
It's okay, Crowy. He doesn't mean a thing by it. Stroking the crowbar. You'll be all right. It's fine.
look, Crowy, just think of it as a little big brother.
Yeah, you're showing the ropes.
Hey, you can head out. You can follow the morning traffic that kind of dwindles as you leave the trading post. There's not many roads in Crest, because you could see, and north leads to a pool on this side of the village. Glimmering, sparkling crystal water. Near its shore sits an old gazebo on the verge of collapse. A wooden statue of a mournful, bare-chested man with chipping paint and some weathering and fading stands within the gazebo with arms outstretched, as though waiting to be embraced. There are a couple people who, as they walk with barrels and buckets filled, dip their hands into the water and sprinkle it at the feet of the statue, and then walk back to town. The people are just here filling their vessels. A few of them are chatting with each other socially. But this is truly, honestly, a very quaint scene and moment.
How deep does this pool look?
Excellent question.
It doesn't matter really, because I don't think they're going to appreciate it if
If you
Arian
jump
just.
in.
I was going to walk in, but I don't think they want me swimming in their water source.
It does look fairly shallow, where many of the people are some people are kind of in the water only a little bit, but most are refraining. Getting their clothing wet would be dangerous. Um, but it does look as if it deepens fairly. I would think with you have less knowledge of freshwater, but you would know that this is fed by a spring underneath, and is kind of rippling and burbling from a deep well beneath.
Could I cast Detect Evil and Good and see if this is consecrated?
Yeah, you can, and it is. Could you actually give me that spell for specification?
I should not dump myself in head first up to my gills, is what you're saying. Understood.
Yeah, I doubt they'd appreciate that.
You see that the water itself is consecrated, and that there is something within the dirt near the statue under the gazebo that also appears to be consecrated. Not the earth itself, but you can sense an object.
From what I know, do I think that that object is what's causing the water to be consecrated, or are they separate effects?
Uh, Separate. I think you'll be limited in how you'd be able to determine this, but separate.
Okay. There are a lot of people here, and it's like a very obvious thing, or
There are a lot of people that are here. I said sorry, the gazebo has like a wooden floor, and it's beneath that. Yeah.
okay.
But there's quite a few people here.
Yeah, I'm not gonna tear up their gazebo. uh,
I don't
Well,
know.
at
least
There
while
might
they're
be a
watching.
500 gold piece gold reliquary under there.
that certainly might be. Maybe we bring it up with the burgomaster and see if he knows about it or what it is, or if
Excellent
he's
idea.
like, "Oh, I have no idea what that is. Yeah, let's go check it out."
Excellent idea. I will make an attempt to politely insert myself in some circle or conversation that's going on, just so I can ask. Excuse me, I new to the area and were told by uh, the gentleman at the trading post that we should come out here and fill these vials, and I noticed people sprinkling water on the feet of that statue there. Would someone mind telling me what that is all about?
Well, welcome to Kresk. It's just sort of a passing ritual. If that's what stands for our remaining shrine to the Morning Lord. It's just supposed to be good luck. The water itself, if you're feeling unwell, most people believe simply magic. It'll cure what ails you. Just a little thanks for the blessings.
Well, that is quite something, and thank you for being so kind and all the people here at Crest being so welcoming. It is nice to be here. I will share that information with Ariam and Zeldris.
Well, let's fill up these vials. Either are you feeling funky still after that temple incident, or perhaps we should see if
By, by,
oh,
by funky, do you mean itchy? Because, yes.
I wasn't gonna say anything. I didn't know if you liked it or
I mean, well, I do, if you're asking. I'm just saying, it's quite itchy. Both things can be true. I mean,
well,
would I prefer not being this itchy? Yes, I would. But would I prefer not being this itchy and losing the beard? No, I would not.
I mean, perhaps there's a barber in town who can get you a good full body shave. um, no, I was just thinking maybe Casimir would appreciate not looking quite as gaunt as he does these days.
Oh, excellent idea.
Though I mean, if there's any risk that he might lose his gift, I mean, you haven't lost your gift even after that restoration you cast on yourself.
I have not.
So I think it might stand to, uh, you likely that Casimir would be all right.
Yes, well, I mean, I've already cast Greater Restoration on him once, and he reports still having the tools necessary.
Oh, I guess I didn't. Yeah, hadn't realized that it happened. So
Well, that's understandable. I mean, when I cast it on him initially, he, not to put too fine a point on it, but he looked as if he had crawled out of a grave. Now he just looks horrible.
well, we'll get those vials filled and go see if we can uh, talk to the burgomaster about the thing buried over there and pick up Victor and make our way to the abbey.
Hmm.
That is, unless y'all had anything else y'all wanted to do in town. I don't mean to call the shots or anything.
No,
No, I
I'm
don't see any
actually, yeah.
problems with that.
All right.
Right, you're filling the vials and then
Yeah.
circling up. All right. Yeah, you can do that. You feel that the water is it's icy cold. Um, but you can almost feel just the compulsion like to drink it. It would be crystalline. Um, uh,
That's some high quality H2O right there.
you can swing back by the burgomasters. I'm assuming you're also leaving Floof with Irina and Casimir.
I am.
Okay.
That way,
Um,
I mean, I can't remember. We can communicate telepathically. I think it's a mile, so it won't be that helpful, but it's something.
I think you should still be within. You'll still end up being within a mile. I
Yeah,
think.
awesome.
Yeah, yeah. It's a very small settlement you're in. Um,
I
and
would like to take the opportunity when we're back, if uh, Anna Kreskoff is around and awake. I'd like to check in with her real quick.
yeah, yeah. She's there in the morning. She looks sleepy, but she's like getting the morning grain ready for baking.
Hmm. Uh, Pardon me. Um, I just wanted to check in real quick and ask how how are things with the newborn?
Oh, Mama's great. Baby's breathing. All's well. Uh, didn't cry, which is, there some some mourning to be had with that, but everything's well. Thank you.
Well, my pleasure. Thank uh, uh gave my prayers to the Twilight Rider that both mother and child would be well. So I am glad to hear that that appears to be the case. Well, we are off to the Abbey. Um, Hopefully we will be back soon. Again, thank you for your hospitality and your continued hospitality for our friend.
Oh, no, it is good to have people in the house. Dimitri may not have mentioned, but we buried our eldest about a week ago, so it feels good to have people within once again.
Oh
It
well,
comes as a blessing to us as well to have company.
I'm terribly sorry, and I am thankful that our paths have crossed now when we are all in need. It is nice to be able to assist each other in this way.
She smiles and squeezes your hand.
Well, As I said, we should be back soon. Be well.
Um, one other question before we go. Would you or your husband know anything about we were down by the pool up the north end of town, and uh, it was clear enough to see that water is consecrated. But when we were there, I happened to catch a whiff. There's something beneath the gazebo out there, buried under the ground, that was putting off some consecrated energy. Is that
Hmm.
anything you know anything about, or?
Well, it's common knowledge that the pool itself was blessed by uh, by Saint Markovia. Uh, the Shrine of the White Sun was one of her own constructs. Uh, if the if the gazebo is blessed, I'm not surprised, but that's not anything. uh, The
Hmm.
pool itself had great healing power some years ago. It's faded with time, but it still has its magic. The
Yeah,
shrine, if it's blessed, well, that's sort of I'll admit that that's news to me.
yeah. Well, I mean, I wouldn't say the shrine itself, but um, I mean, there is something buried beneath the ground that that is blessed. Um, and I know, we spoke mostly with the Baron yesterday about our goals and quests, but one of our intentions is to search out anything that might give us a leg up, or a hand hold, some kind of something or other that might make us a little more powerful when it comes time to face down uh, old Master Fangs up in his castle. But I don't want to go digging up something if that's not something y'all would allow. Of course, we would do our very best not to damage any of the structures or anything, but perhaps just to discover what's buried and whether or not it's uh, what kind of power it might hold.
Why don't you make me a persuasion check?
While that conversation, particularly the last portion of that conversation, was going on, Zaz has sort of turned his back and is whispering again to the crowbar. Let's see that portable ram try and get in there without doing too much destruction. Y- You're, you're the best,
Uh,
Croy.
I like an 18, but I am just going to use an inspiration just to try to be higher.
Okay.
But yeah.
Okay. I'll speak with Dimitri.
Hmm.
If you all make it back well enough, all right. We'll see what we can do for you.
Hmm. Well, thank you very much.
I'll say, the shrine, the pool, all of it is all we really have left of the saint. We would do anything, really, to aid anyone who could stand against Strahd, but it is all we have.
Hmm. Uh, for what it's worth, from what I could tell, the item that is buried uh, is not the source of the spring's consecration. Um, and whatever it is, if it were to be something useful, I'd never dream of not returning it to you. Um, but but of course, it is your the town's decision, not mine.
She gives you kind of a wary smile and a nod.
Well, well, thanks again for giving us a place to stay and uh, looking after our friends. We will be sure to report whatever it is we find at the Abbey.
Blessed travels. four of you can get together, begin heading on the switchback path on the rather sharp escarpment towards the abbey. We'll take our 15-minute break. Back at 5 after. you can get your uh I'm so glad you were leaving some people behind at the house, because I do not love rolling so many NPCs into initiative when necessary.
You're telling me. I've had Captain and Demetrius and crew following y'all for a while. It's been a nightmare.
I'm sorry. But you can grab Victor from the Burgermaster's house and begin walking towards the sharp cliffs towards the Abbey. As you can see on the map, you have these switchbacks that will take some time to pass, but not too bad. The Abbey itself sits, the wall of it sits upon just the edge of the cliff, about 700 feet above the rest of the city. I wonder, actually, I'm going to see if I've got a handout for the like profile of it, because it's kind of cool. Player handouts. Oh, I do! Oh, this is a better handout than the one in the book. I forgot I found a great one. Ta-da!
Oh, very cool.
Nice.
Thank you, thank you.
This will probably not mean anything to anyone, but it reminds me of Drum Castle.
Oh,
Yeah,
my
that's
head.
about what I expected.
It reminds me of the castle at the end of the game called Vampire that you go to, that there's a vampire there. That's
Well,
not
I hope
foreboding.
I hope you don't find a vampire in here.
Not of the fan of the way you
Goddamn.
said that, but let's go.
Let me see if it specifies how long it takes. The switchback road hugs the cliff. That hugs the cliff. Blah. The switchback road that hugs the cliff is 10 feet wide and covered in loose gravel with chunks of broken rock. The ascent is slow and somewhat treacherous, and the air grows colder as one nears the top. Um, because you guys can just walk that. I'm not going to make any rolls or anything. Is there anything anyone wants to say or prepare as you're headed up closer?
Time to cut myself. It's a D8 cut myself now. Hey.
This is
Hey!
my last resort.
Oh, hey, we got another long rest in, which means all my hit dice are back.
Oh yeah, that's a very good reason to be tracking how many days it's been. Alright, so I'll just click your guys along the road a little bit so you can see the switchbacks and the outer wall of the abbey itself. Let's see. The road from the village climbs above the mist to a wide ledge on which the abbey is perched. A light dusting of snow covers the trees and the rocky earth. The gravel road passes between two small stone outbuildings, to either side of which stretches a 5-foot high, 3-foot thick wall of jumbled stones held together with mortar. Blocking the road are iron gates attached to the outbuildings by rusty hinges. They appear to be unlocked. Viewed through the gates, the stone abbey stands quiet. Its two wings are joined by a 15-foot high curtain wall. There's a belfry protruding from the rooftop of the closer northern wing, which also sports a chimney, billowing gray smoke. Yeah, Zeldrin's already at the gate so that he can kind of peek inside. Everyone else can too. The gate, like I said, the gate is closed, but you can see through.
And you all thought I was foolish for buying a portable ram.
Well, it does look unlocked. I'm gonna try to just open the gate.
It squeaks loudly and swings open.
Still quieter than the ram would have been.
Are you sure?
Who's out there?
Well, we are. Who's in there?
You hear some snorting and noises as a creature sort of crawls on like three of its appendages out towards you. You see um, a humanoid, but only uh, just under 5 feet tall, squatting and clawing his way forward with like one hand and a shovel in his other. He looks kind of like a beardless dwarf, um, but instead of hair, he has patches of fuzz, animal hide. It looks like donkey flesh over part of his face and body. One of his ears is very houndish. The other is human, um, and his face is sort of twisted and protruding like a wolf's snout and fangs. And his legs are surprisingly cat-like. Otto,
Right. Otto?
my
Did I
name.
hear it? Ah, well, I am Zazarak. This is my brother Zeldrin and our dear friend Arian.
Hello. I'm Victor.
Oh, apologies. And yes, Victor here. As if I was trying to write something down and lost my way. Uh, are you in charge here at the Abbey?
He stands upright, only just like pulling his chest up for a second before falling back into his crouch. Otto should be in charge. Zig! He goes over to the other uh, building and swings the shovel into the stonework with a loud clang. And you hear shuffling from inside. You don't see who comes forth, but you hear like steps and sniffling. What brings you to the Abbey?
May we come in?
It depends. What brings you to the Abbey?
I
Well, we
suppose you
are.
could say
Go
divine
for it.
intervention. We have been directed here. We have been directed here by the visions of one Madam Ava. It would seem there is something of our fate to be found here. Also, my friend here is very devout elf, and we'd like to see your place of worship.
No worship in the House of Bellevue.
The House of Bellevue? What is that?
Our clan. Zig! He shouts again and looks to the side and like pulls one of his hands in a beckoning motion towards him, and see another figure emerge, mostly covered in a dark cloak, but a shorter creature, humanoid still, with lizard scales across her face uh, and whiskery gray fur at her jaws. Uh, you see one of her hands that clutches the cloak close to her is that of a cat's paw. Um, with a slightly opposable thumb and a tail drifting out from under the fabric of the cloak. We have guests, Zig. She kind of gruffly uh, grunts back to him and starts padding up like through up the pathway.
Should we follow? I feel like we should probably follow.
Yes, I do think so. And as I do, I'm going to take a nice deep breath.
Mhm. I have to verify whether or not you're going to get a specific sense off of the land itself. I would say not spectacularly. You can determine like the land that was once consecrated is no longer.
Hmm.
Um, uh, it is not specifically desecrated, but
Okay, and like these two are not pinging to me as undead.
that is correct.
Okay, fantastic. All right, yeah, I'll just follow along.
All
Otto,
right.
should we be following Zig here?
Siegfried will show you where to find the abbot.
Wonderful, thank you.
As you pass into the courtyard, um, the road itself is still fairly level where you are, but climbs, as you can see up here. I should turn on daylight, I think. Um, uh, just a ways, as the building is still a little bit higher up than where you are in the courtyard. You also see down here to the south um, stunted pine trees growing out of the earth, and very clearly rows and rows of ancient gravestones bursting from the very thin crust of snow on the in the yard.
Yeah, and I will just continue to follow Zig.
All right.
Zig, is there anything we should know about the abbot?
You hear her whimper and pull her hood down closer over her face, and she does not make eye contact with you and does not say any words.
All right, yeah, understood. Little shy. That's all right.
Okay. Assuming Zeldrin and Arium plan on following, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Okay. Alright, I'll just get you all together. All the way to the Abbey's front gate. You see a 15-foot high curtain wall joins the two Abbey wings. Behind its battlements, let's see. Hold on. Is that right? Oh, yeah. Behind its battlements, two guards stand at attention, their features obscured by fog. Below them, set into the wall, is a pair of 10-foot-tall wooden doors reinforced with bands of steel. To the right of these doors, mounted on the wall, is a tarnished copper plaque, which as you pass, you can see engraven on the plaque reads the Abbey of St. Markovia, and then the quote, "May her light cure all illness." And Siegfried opens the gate. Come on. For you.
I will walk through the doors, or walk through the gate, I should say.
Siegfried, upon entering beyond this wall into this like smaller courtyard, um, uh, stops, pulls herself to the side, and extends one pawed hand in a point towards the building here. And then she scurries off into the into another building.
What do we see here?
Right there. Sure, that's right. Let's see. You see a number of in this corner of the courtyard here. There are little chicken sheds and little animal troughs and chambers that you hear like sounds coming from. And the figure who is right here um, is another hunched, cloaked creature um, whose arms, as she sort of moves on the ground here, sort of pivoting around a pole. Um, you see that she's actually like chained to that pole. Her arms extend, and you see that from her wrists and elbows and the joints of her shoulders extend very large, leathery black wings. It at first looked like more of a cloak, but is in fact part of her body.
Hmm. I, I don't know what this app is up to, but clearly the isolation of this abbey is to his advantage. I think the only thing that would make more sense for this sort of nonsense is I don't know, some sort of aisle for a doctor to operate on. And I see 3 doors over. We were pointed to this building. Is that correct?
Yes, yeah.
And judging by where the path is, it looks like the one in the middle is the main entrance.
Yes.
I will knock on the door and then open it.
All right. You hear as when you knock on the door, there's almost like from the animal pens here
Mhm.
and like just along the sides of the wall, um, immediately upon your knocking, there's just a baying, a barking, squawking, like a small cacophony
Mhm.
that's very, very brief, um, but dies down fairly quickly. You can open the door. Gentle sounding music trickles down from above, played on a single stringed instrument by some unseen master.
Mm.
The ground floor is one large 50-foot square room with arched, leaded glass windows. There's a cauldron sitting on an iron rack above a fire in the hearth, while above the fireplace mantel hangs a golden disc engraved with the symbol of the sun. In one corner, a wooden staircase climbs upwards, while in another corner, a stone staircase descends into darkness. Several chairs surround a wooden table that stretches near the length of the room. There's wooden dishware and golden candelabras neatly arranged on the table. Standing behind Standing behind which is a young woman with alabaster skin, dressed in a torn red gown. Her auburn hair is neatly bundled so as to not touch her soft shoulders, and she seems lost in her own thoughts. There's an extra token. He's not supposed to be on the. It's not supposed to be there.
Okay.
All right.
Hello. Sorry to interrupt whatever it is you are doing. Um, my name is Zazarak. Uh, this is my brother Zeldrin and our dear friend Ariam. May I ask what your name is?
Her head lifts to yours. Her gaze seems fairly unfocused, and her mouth opens, but she does not speak.
And she looks humanoid, or does she
Yes.
have animal parts as well?
She is entirely and like fairly immaculately human.
Okay. Hmm. Well, gentlemen, why do you think Zig let us in here? We supposed to wait for somebody? Gonna walk over here and just sort of look out the window and just see, yeah, that looks like the continuation of the graveyard out that
Mhm.
window.
As you step to the window
Mhm.
there, you hear footsteps above you on the stairs beside that
Okay.
come down. Mhm.
I'll go back to the stairs and just call up the stairs. Hello? Anybody up there? Uh,
The music you notice has stopped, and coming down the stairs is a handsome young man who wears uh, old but clean, humble robes. He has unusually light skin and hair and brilliant eyes, um, and he has a very lovely smile. His hands are clasped in front of him. I did not know we were expecting company. Please, make yourselves comfortable. Stilka could use some assistance in her training. He gestures for you to like go to the table.
um, and you said this one's name was what now?
Her name is Vasilka.
Vasil.
At least that is what I've decided to call her for the time being. I think it has a lovely ring to it. Sounds enough like many of the names of the people here.
And you said she's in training?
Yes, she has much to learn. Manner of manners. This token sucks, but we'll use it anyway. He comes down the stairs and walks around the room to behind her, puts his hands behind on the like back of the chair that she's sitting in, slightly adjusts it, and she sits upright, and then he sits next to her. What can I do for you, gentlemen?
Um, I will sit across from him. Well, we were told that we might find a lone individual wandering the grounds here, St. Markovius. But it wasn't until we got to Kresk that we were informed that there was, in fact, an abbot here as well. And it wasn't until we got to the gates that we discovered that there were other individuals. So I guess we are at a bit of a loss as to what exactly is going on here.
He's clearly listening to you, but one of his hands is repeatedly moving over to Vasilka's and redirecting her fingers over an array of utensils she has until she's able to select the one that he thinks appears to be appropriate. There is no food. Um, he is just like moving her hand over the utensils. Yes, this place is very strange, isn't it? I understand if there is some confusion. What questions might I answer to help educate?
Would you mind explaining what's going on with your friends here? Otto and Zig and Silga here, all rather unusual individuals.
Ah, the Belleviews. Far be it from me to call them friends. I am unfortunately simply responsible for them. They came here seeking divinity. Something I was perhaps somewhat misguided in attempting to provide. They saw in the wilds and in the beasts of the realm that there is strength within nature. Wished to be more closely married to it, and I offered them a means to that end. It is tragic what has become of them. Pitiful, even. They are my wards. I do not allow them within the city of Kresk.
So I am unclear. Are are these individuals that came to you in the state they are now? Or when they arrived, were they of a more lucid and humanoid form? And it is your endeavors which have found them in the state they are currently in.
I regret that it is my doing that has presented them in the physical forms they are in. At one time, they were a finer people, more stable. That was generations ago, unfortunately.
Hmm. Well, it is, if nothing else, nice to see that you are not shirking your responsibilities to those you have put in such an unfortunate state?
I came to this abbey with the intention to cleanse it, and there has been, perhaps, misguidance, not the right word, but pride that has prevented the divine's intentions for this place. As such, it is left somewhat of a madhouse for the deranged, violent, and unbearable Bellevue clan.
Yeah. I mean, just to be clear, the Bellevue clan is the clan that you created.
He seems to consider this, but does not say anything.
All right. Well, what exactly are you trying to cleanse the abbey of?
When the Saint Markovia was here, she and her kind had pride enough to think they had strength to stand against Strahd. At their deaths, I was sent here to reclaim, protect this place. It can be all that I can manage to keep the Bellevues who came to me within, keep them safe, keep Kresk safe. It is a tiring burden, but one that is my responsibility.
You said you were sent here. Who is it that sent you?
The gods, the divine. I am but their servant.
Any god in particular?
Righteous voices for justice and light. His head turns up towards to the golden symbol above the hearth. Here they call him the Morning Lord.
What did you call him?
Friend, ally, companion, compatriot, master, guardian, lord.
Have we asked about our potential Vistani friend here?
Well, not specifically. Have you? By the way, is there a name which we should call you?
People of Kresk call me the abbot. That is sufficient.
I'm just going to turn around, Victor. I I sincerely apologize for every time I have called you creepy. All right, the abbot who was sent here by Lord. Um, you seen anybody wandering around these parts you can't otherwise account for?
It is not often that the gates of the abbey are opened. But I had a young woman who asked for shelter here about a week ago.
And what
If
did you
she
do
has
to
not
fill it?
left, she is within the barracks. His head kind of nods like towards the to the door you've come through, with kind of the direction of the. Actually, let me make sure that that's the right direction. Before I point you in completely opposite place. Let's see. Yes. Yeah. To the opposite building. I believe she's taken room on the second story.
Wonderful. Why don't you come with us and show us exactly where? You can explain the history of the Abbey as we walk.
By all means. Vasilka, and the woman's head turns to him. You may go rest. She stands up. Oh my. Okay. My mouse went berserk. She stands up and curtsies to everyone before walking across the room with immaculate balance um, towards the stairs and walks down. If you'll follow me. And the abbot stands and begins walking to the other side of the room as well.
So, tell me, Abbott, how is it that you have lived as long as you have here?
He smiles just a little wryly and says, "Creatures such as myself are not killed by time."
You think you could hazard to be a little more specific? What kind of creature do you mean?
As I said, I am the servant of the divine.
Well, as am I, but I am still harmed by time, albeit much slower than many of the other residents of this realm.
You are yet still a creature of the material world, is that correct?
Not quite, but close enough.
I myself do not come from this realm, nor an approximate. I have traveled very far to be here. As you begin crossing the courtyard and pass by the well that is placed within the center, um, you hear a hiss and a shout as another one of these bestial, monstrous individuals sort of jumps up and lunges. Uh, um, the abbot puts up a hand uh, and gives a very firm, like stern glare before they like shrink back into the well. You see their fingers like clinging to the like upper ledge, and their eyes sort of glinting as they watch you pass, but they do not like jump and attack. Do, do. Here, I'll grab Arium's token. Bring buddy up. Okay. The abbot takes you into this other building, which, as soon as the doors open, from within you just hear the din of animal sound. Um, creatures and people's voices mingling and wailing. You hear chants of food, food, food repeated over and over, and then just impatient and aggravated noises all around. It's almost deafening. Um, from here, he takes you around the right here and around a bend up some stairs. Instead of dragging all of those tokens there, I'll just take you to the next map. Okay, that worked. I know you're still there. Hold on. Okay. All right. Yeah. Most of this building is in utter shambles, as you can see. Um, it is covered with debris and dust, filth. Let's see. Oh, how do you get into this room? What the fuck? Oh wait, hold on. This is the wrong way. He's actually going to take you out this door. Dynamic lighting. Come on. Oh fuck. Okay, out that door. Take you out onto the battlements here. You can see the guards that you saw as you were approaching this building
Mm.
are actually just scarecrows that are
Okay.
dressed in like sloppy dressings and armor. He knocks first before entering this room, and well, he opens the door and just gestures for you inside.
Gonna examine the scarecrow for a second. Just want to see if there are any feathers in it.
You see that it is actually filled with straw.
Okay. I
Mhm.
will just go, oh no, the abbot, after you, please.
He smiles and walks inside. Miss Devanir, you have inquirers in this room. There is a very young woman um, with sunned skin and heavy, thick curls of hair, of dark hair. She's wearing rugged and torn armor and clothing and has a rapier uh, nearby. One of her legs, as she swings her legs over the side of the bed to stand, clangs with some metallic noise as it touches the ground. You see that she has a steel prosthetic leg. Um, da, 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 da. There's her art. And in this room, there's just a disheveled amount of bunk beds. She's sitting on top of one of them with a book in her lap that she sets aside before dropping to the ground. Zazarak, as you come in a little bit farther, you see part of the room has some etchings in the ground and like half melted candle stubs on the ground, and like left out chalk and some notes on paper. Who are you?
Well, my name is Zazrak. This is my brother Zeldrin. This is our good friend Ariel. And you might be.
Esmeralda. What do you
Oh,
want?
pleasure to meet you, Esmeralda. Uh, we were told that you might find a lone Vishronic wandering around the grounds of St. Markovius Abbey.
Yeah?
Might that be you?
Well, who told you?
Well, who do you think might have visions like that to tell strange travelers?
Well, it could be any diviner in the realm, and it could be Strad von Zarovich. So who told you?
We are no friends of the master of the land. It was Madame Ava who sent us in this direction.
Why?
Oh, before we get to that, let me ask, what is going on here? Are you all right?
What do you mean?
I mean, I think even the abbot would agree that outsiders such as ourselves, things seem to be in a strange state here at the abbey.
Yeah. She looks at him, at the abbot,
Mhm.
and says, "Would we have some privacy, please?" And he, not really put off by her tone, just gives her a pleasant nod and walks out of the room, shuts the door behind him. She crosses her arms and folds and leans back against the bunk beds.
Oh,
The
you've
Abbey's
been
been like this forever, as far as I know.
okay.
It's just an opportune hiding place. Nobody comes in, and the people who live here don't leave, so they can't tell anyone that I'm here. Not that apparently that matters, because apparently I'm still known out and someone has been able to find me.
What exactly are you hiding from?
Lord Master von Zarovich, just like everybody else.
Hmm. Well, simple fact of the matter is, my friends, my brother, and I, we are going to put an end to Baron von Zarovich, and we were sent out this way because we were told you might be of some assistance in that regard.
Madame Ava told you that?
Sazerac nods.
Did she know why?
If she did, it was lost on me. Perhaps you might tell us.
Hmm. I don't suppose any of you have familiarity with vampirism.
More than a little.
I'll
Well,
just pull aside and sort of stretch my neck out of my leather armor and show the gnarled skin.
So it's just first-hand experience, or do you have a history with it? She goes and starts climbing her way back up onto the bunk bed, dangling her feet off the side, staring at all of you.
Oh, it's a long and complicated history.
You share yours, and I'll share with mine.
Sure, I will tell her the story of Ronan and all that that entails.
Okay. She sits quietly and listens. She barely blinks while listening. You see one of her fingers just gently tapping against her crossed leg, um, as she does so. And when you're finished, she tells you her story. That when she was young, she was a traveler with her family. There was a separation, and she watched people get eaten, destroyed. She was left alone for some time. And this was all while she was in without the mists outside in Faerun. And in her youth, in the loneliness, she was met with a stranger who understood what it was like to see family taken. And he taught her a few tricks of the trade, specifically what it takes to bind and trap, kill vampires. And this is something that she did with him for some time. And there was an instance while they were together where in combat she lost her leg to a werewolf. It was ripped from her. She was left bleeding, and her mentor, in an attempt to end the fight quickly, ran after their target, and then she never saw him again. And since then she has spent her time in fair isolation and returned to her homeland, Barovia, and has been secretly plotting, designating areas of the realm, including this one. And she points to the markings on the ground that may yet become traps, could be baited, and then anchor points to secure Strahd in place so that he may be slain.
Well, I am terribly sorry for the multiple losses that you experienced. Uh, I must say, it sounds like when we do get out of here, you would make an excellent candidate for the House of the Crescent Moon organization, which has done a fair amount of monster hunting on its own. And Ariam here being a most distinguished representative.
He just nods.
So, have you given any thought to when you're going to begin this undertaking?
A few of these circles have already been made. Here, in a couple of towers. Small places in the valley. It's just a matter of deciding which one I think I stand the best chance. So far, this abbey seems like the strongest fortification. It's a small room, but it's better than the open fields, I think.
Perhaps I'd have to consider it further before forming my own opinion, but certainly trust your judgment. You have been at this particular endeavor for, well, how long have you been at this particular endeavor?
6 years.
Well, I feel fairly confident in offering our assistance. We're quite capable combatants, and I will gesture to my 3 companions.
What's it been like here for you in Barovia?
Well, this I have traveled many places, and can honestly say that Barovia is among the worst. And it is a shame because we have met some very fine people in many places around Barovia, but they are all under the boot heel of the master of the lands. Nothing more than his playthings, really. And now we find ourselves trapped here by his whim, really. We will not let that stand.
He's playing with us. He knows we're here. I don't know if he knows that we're in this room together. He's choosing not to fight you. Because he thinks it's funny.
Yeah, he is not short on ego.
We have met him.
He invited us to dinner, then sticked one of his dogs on us.
And you escaped.
Is that it?
How many were you then?
Was Victor with us at that time? I don't remember.
Yes.
We have not lost anyone. so far.
What have you given any thought to what you plan on using for bait?
The abbot has made a bride. You might have seen her. And if there's one thing that Strahd has said that he finds more interesting than travelers who wish to see his doom, it's finding new pets to keep in his castle. The abbot thinks that Vasilka is a good, what's the word? Plaything. She kind of shrugs. Distraction. He thinks that if he can be sated or whatever, that he'll find real happiness, he'll be saved, that the divine will intervene and cure this land. Kind of sounds like bullshit to me. He's had plenty of opportunities to find love or whatever. If that's the cure, then he's missed it. And I don't think making something is going to make it any better. But the abbot intends to invite him to the abbey to meet Vasilka. And I think that's the best opportunity I have.
There can be no redemption of Strahd, no return to normalcy for him. Recently in our travels, we had occasion to witness a divination over this topic, and there is nothing to help Barovia but for Strahd's demise. No way to return him to any sort of nobility. There is, if the people of Barovia are to be saved, only death. I fear your, fear the abbot's plan will instead endanger everyone here within these walls.
You're probably right. But I can't face him in Ravenloft, so close to his resting place. Not alone. Even if we are, and she kind of gestures between all of you, even if we are all like-minded, this is what we want. And that's something that we were capable of handling together in alliance. I don't know that Ravenloft is the wisest place to make that stand. I've been there before, barely made it back out.
Was it the gargoyles on the ceiling? Stone ones that come to life? Is that what almost got you?
No, it was the things in the basement.
We were fortunate enough to avoid that.
It's where most of his wives spend their time.
Hmm.
Well, I've given you my plan. Do you have any?
I will not speak for my compatriots, but I have nothing entirely set in stone yet. We have um, we have more investigations to undertake before we can uh, finalize any sort of course of action. We have been given a number of leads, um, which is what brought us to this abbey in the first place. Things that we might find, allies that we might enlist in this battle, and we have yet to yet we have yet to run down all those leads, as it were. We have yet to speak to those who might aid us. So, uh, in, until those things are complete, any plan we might conceive of to bring Strahd from Ravenloft or make our way in there would be premature.
Where do you hope to find these allies?
There are a number of places that we still seek in Barovia. The city of Argynvostholt, for instance, or I suppose it may not be a city, really, the camp of Argynvostholt. Uh, a, a what else have we heard of? A sword of sunlight, a um well, we have been to the temple. Um, there are still a few things that we do seek. It it could be that the allies we find, the items that we discover, could aid in the success or increase the chance of success of your plan.
And plainly put, one of the allies we were hoping to find was you.
She seems deep in thought. I hope you know and can understand why I'm hesitant to travel with strangers. If there is something more to this place, to Barovia, that there is some secrets, knowledge, power that can be found against Strahd, I won't be stupid. I won't deny that help. found me. What do you plan to do with me?
I suppose if we can convince you to give us time to further our efforts, it would be in both of our interests to enlist your aid in this. We both want the same, well, we all want the same thing. We wish to remove Strahd from the seat of power here in Barovia to return peace to these lands.
Yeah. Like I said, I'd be stupid to refuse the help. You said Argynvost Holt?
Yes, we are looking for Sir Godfrey Gwillem and Vladimir Horngard, members of the Order of the Silver Dragon. We have an idea of where they were, or of where they are, but came seeking you first.
Don't know who they are, but I know where Argynvost Holt is. And if there's something that can be done to better my traps, better secure victory. Her eyes fall on the on the sigils on the ground. I think this can wait. My bag's practically ready to go. I don't know if you plan on leaving the Abbey now or Kresk even today. But I'll be ready.
I don't believe we are in any great rush. We have only recently arrived in Kresk at all. There is there is one other matter in Kresk that I would investigate, although it is certainly a tall order. I would try to perhaps not entreat with the werewolf pack that troubles that city, but investigate them at the very least.
You can see just a shadow pass over her face at the mention of that.
This is something that we or that I can do before you are before you leave this place. There's no need for you to join us on that.
Yeah, as you can imagine, I'd prefer not. I've killed a lot of werewolves since returning to Barovia.
Well, then, sounds like we will take care of our Kresk business and check back in with you before we leave. Please. I know you mentioned that you are hesitant to travel with strangers, but you and I, well, we're no longer strangers, are we, Esmeralda? We know each other's stories. Here, take this. I will use my rank 3 ability and hand over what is a small piece of, appears to be like a small piece of tree bark that I picked up somewhere along the way and have just etched on one side of it, like a rough representation of a sun with a face in it, and half of the face looks like the sun and the other half of the face looks like the moon. Right? And I'll just hand
Uh-huh.
it to her and say, if you need to get in contact with us, this will work for the next 7 days.
She closes her fist around it, stows it into a pocket on her belt. All right. Is there anything you wish to do, or anything else you wish to say to her, or do before you leave, or before you leave
Yeah,
this room?
I do feel it prudent to inform you now, given your history, that while I am, uh, in case it should alter your decision to travel with us, I am not a werewolf, although I do bear some portion of the curse of lycanthropy. It is something which, with the assistance of the House of the Crescent Moon back on Faerun, I have uh, managed to master instead of allowing it to master myself. It is part of why the pack outside of Kresk is such a thorn in my side. I felt it better to tell you now, in case you do join us. I would not want Rokea to surprise you.
You can see that there is some heavy consideration. But she says fairly quickly in response, I think that does put you significantly above the dickhead that took my leg.
I do not mean to pry. Is that a thing that happened here in Barovia or before you returned to Barovia?
Before.
Okay. So there is little chance that the perpetrator is here in Barovia.
Little. Yeah. I had a long history, a lot of different lycanthropes, a lot of different vampires before I made it back here. Been a busy few years.
hopefully that we can put this other issue behind us and we can all set out for Argynvostholt in short order.
Say, you've been here at least a little while. What are your thoughts on this abbot?
Oh, he's fucking insane.
He claims to be a being from the celestial plane sent on a holy mission.
I mean, that I can believe. But Barovia has a way of getting to people.
Mhm.
I mean, what? He's been here 100 years? Whatever? And he looks exactly the same as he always has? The only other creatures that are like that are the vampires.
Well, I mean, if he is some sort of angel, as he said he is, that would explain, well, lack of aging, but these creatures he's created, the transformations, the lobotomizing,
The
uh,
Bellevues.
yeah,
She just wrinkles her nose.
like, I understand he's keeping them imprisoned here, but what would happen if one of them escaped? The folks in the town don't have. I mean, they have a armed force, but just seems very dangerous. And this corpse bride does not. I'm not set at ease by the idea of it.
Nor should you be. It's fucked. If he tries to lure, if he tries to bring Strahd here while you're gone, I'll be sure to let you know. She taps the pocket where the bark piece is.
Well, I mean, if anything strange or dangerous happens, I want to be able to help. I'm not the type to go on a holy crusade and purge the monstrosities from the land unless I have a reason to.
Well, I mean, your reason could just be they're eating people.
Are they eating people?
The Bellevues?
Hmm.
Not yet.
Well, unfortunately, not yet. Not enough to go off of. Well, we will head back to the Burgomaster's house and be sure to inform him on what we've seen up here. We'll see how that goes, I figure.
Thank you for finding me.
I think it is to everyone's good fortune.
Mhm.
Alright. The four of you can step back out onto the battlement. You do not see the abbot. The door that you've been led through is still open. Do you step Do you go anywhere else in the Abbey before leaving, or do you just head right out?
Well, do you fellas feel like sticking our noses in it, or
Well,
It's,
I'm gonna
Isn't that pretty
say,
much we've been doing since we got here?
well, then I will follow your lead, gentlemen, because I am concerned that given my current state of mind and what we might find poking our noses around, that I might find myself in the mood to burn this abbey to the ground. I mean, Victor, you saw it. Like, even you registered this is creepy, right?
It's very strange. It's at the risk of you yelling at me again. I'm impressed, but it is very strange.
Zazarak's just rubbing the bridge of his nose. All right. Well, I'm gonna choose to focus on the fact that you said it was very strange. We're gonna focus on that.
I mean, on the way up here, it sounded like there were, more of these
Yeah.
amalgamations. Who knows what kind of armies got locked up in here?
Do you think it's worth knowing? At the risk of being found in the middle of it.
Well, we were never told we couldn't take a look around. I think the Burgomaster deserves to know what it is that is sitting atop the hill above his lovely little town.
Well. Lead the way, brother.
Look, I'm not saying we take an exact head count, but uh, maybe just see what it is to see. We're gonna walk on over here towards this other door.
Sure.
I the courtyard's below us, isn't it?
Yeah. You can kind of see the like the path where the well is right here.
Hmm.
Hmm.
I'll try the door.
Uh, yeah, I think it's open. Give me 1 second. You can hear as you get closer the sound of that instrument being played again that you heard from when you were below.
Mhm.
In this room, you see unlit lanterns hanging from the rafters, a rope dangling from a bronzed bell lodged in the belfry 30 feet above you. The room is filled with the sound of beautiful music, a melody so enchanting that it adds a bit of a much needed warmth to the otherwise freezing open room. A black shroud covers a humanoid shape lying on a wooden table. The music does nothing to stir that form. A cot heaped with furs rests in the northeast corner, surrounded by empty wine bottles. An oil lamp burns on the table nearby, silhouetting a squat creature with two heads. It sits on the edge of the cot with a veal between its legs. With a crustacean claw-like appendage, it grasps the neck of the instrument while running a bow gently across its strings with its human hand. When the door opens, his the eyes from the larger of the two heads on the shoulder flick up to see you and then back down at his playing.
I'll sit and listen for a minute, not wanting to interrupt.
He just keeps playing.
I don't think I need to see what's under that sheet.
Okay. You get closer. His eyes flick back up to you. He keeps playing, but this time he watches you get closer.
You are quite the talented musician. Thank you for allowing us to listen. Uh, my name is Zazarak. What's yours?
He keeps playing as he says, Cloven. Bellevue.
Well, it is a pleasure to meet you, Cloven. We've had the pleasure of meeting some others from your clan. Um, haven't really had extensive conversations with any of them. Would you mind talking with us for a moment or two?
Hmm. They're feeble. He very not so abruptly, but just rather unexpectedly stops drawing the bow and sets the bow on the table and lays the viol down next to him. Picks up one of the bottles near him, twirls it in the crustacean claw, listening for any fluid inside, and then tips it so that the last little bit falls into his mouth.
Abbott was telling us that y'all came here and he conducted some ceremony or experiment or something on you in an effort to help you become closer to nature. And that is how you
Mm,
find yourself in your current state. Does that sound like a
better,
reasonable explanation? Better?
yes,
He's made you better.
better than we were.
So you're pleased with the results of what the Abbot has done.
He holds the now empty glass at the neck of the bottle with the one crab claw,
Mm,
and with very little effort presses with it, and the bottle shatters in his grasp,
mm.
scattering pieces of glass. Stronger, smarter, faster, many of us.
Well, I am happy for you that you are pleased with the results of his work. Would you mind explaining what that work entails, or at least what it was like for you? How did the transformation occur?
He told the abbot what it was we wanted. Took us, sat us down, incanted in a language did not comprehend. Light transformation. Painful, but not long lasting. Worth it in the end.
So I take that means that you remain here of your own free will.
Cloven does. Yeah. Abbott protects all Belleviews.
Well, maybe not all. You originally from Barovia? You lived your life here?
He nods.
So you must have some strong feelings about Strahd one way or the other.
Strahd von Zorovich told our fathers to come to the Abbot to get what we desired. He was right. He knew the Abbot could give us what we wanted.
So sounds like you're pretty fond of Strahd as well. After all, he helped set the wheels in motion for you to get this transformation that you were looking for.
He gives a very sleepy blink and nod.
You have any idea how close Zarovich and the Abbot are?
The Abbot wants to impress Strahd. Change his mind about something. Not friends, but kindly.
Hmm. Well, it is been awfully kind of you to talk with us, and I am sorry that we interrupted your performance or practice.
Practice.
I hear it does make perfect.
Do you have any more wine? When travelers come to the Abbey, they bring wine.
I do. It's not the highest quality, but I do have some.
My brothers and sisters are very greedy. His one human hand reaches out in a greedy grabbing like gesture.
Do you have a goblet? Or a bottle I can fill from my skin? That way I can refill the skin and be ready.
He looks around for an unbroken bottle, picks one up and sets it on the table.
I will pull out my wineskin trinket and transfer the contents of my wineskin into the bottle.
Not the poison one, right?
No, this is
Okay.
this is the magically refilling one. This is my
Oh,
starting trinket.
oh my god. You fill the bottle, and his eyes are just wide at the appearance of this magic. Uh, and he just says, "Second best magic Cloven's ever seen." He takes the bottle and sits back with it.
Second best.
Abbott,
Uh, yes, I
Oh,
assume the magic that created him.
I'm just gonna make a quick look in my Crescent Moon portfolio here. If I have any AA brochures. No. All right. Well, next time.
so Cloven, what's that over there on the table?
He looks over, and let's see. Let's see if it specifies. Let's see. Mm, pieces. He gets up and drops to his 2 feet. One of them a large bear foot, a bear's foot, and the other a bear human foot. Uh, and walks over to the table and begins pulling the shroud back,
So
revealing.
he's got a bear foot and a human foot that he's not wearing anything on. So this
Yeah.
guy is on Team Cody, is what you're telling us.
Yes. Pulls back the sheet. You see pieces of very old corpse remains, needles, thread, some bone saws, and some other tools, all very neatly arranged.
Interesting.
Perfect wife. Not this one. And he throws the sheet back over it.
So, I understand you and your family were sent. Are you and your family the only folks that the abbot has ever transformed?
We're the only ones that ask.
Are there others who did not ask?
No.
Got a very large family. How many do you number? Would you reckon?
The cub pits are full of young, and there are some 5 mothers now, and brothers, sisters, many.
Hmm. Big happy family.
Mm.
Well, I suppose we'll let you get back to your playing then.
He hobbles back over to the bed, picks the viol back up.
Start making my way out of here.
I think probably here is our best place to stop tonight.